Hello.
David, hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Amazing. Thanks for taking the time to do this.
Hey, I was about to just say the exact same thing. I should be thanking you because I asked you to come be on the interview for Barry Media Influencer Spotlight. Very much appreciate your time, David. For our viewers who are just now getting introduced to you, David, can you just give us a brief background on yourself? And I'm going to tell them how we crossed paths very shortly.
Yeah, sure. So, started out as a typical poor kid from Akron, Ohio, who wanted to be rich, ended up getting a terrific job out of law school. Instead of being an oil and gas litigator, I worked in the internet selling legal research online. 9 months out of law school, was blessed to be a millionaire, bought my mom the house and the car that I dreamed of. That company sold for $3.4 billion in 1995.
Billion with a B
Yeah,
in
with a B.
95.
Yeah, not many companies selling for that, but I changed the trajectory of my life because I went to the Silicon Valley, helped raise millions of dollars there for Every Path, a wireless proxy server company, and then ended up being CEO of the world's first smartphone in 1999, a company called PCE Phone. We were the first Windows CE device in the world, the first smartphone, and then even more fun, became angel investor, entrepreneur, real estate, stocks, and met Lee Steinberg, who most notably is known for the movie Jerry Maguire, became CEO of the most notable sports agency, where about a year and a half into that, I ended up losing all my money. And over
And
$100
you
million
laugh about
in
it.
real estate.
You laugh.
Yeah, it was the best thing. It's not really, I laugh only because it's, to me, I went on a spiritual quantum shift in my life 2 years before I lost everything. And it was almost preparing me for a
Right.
rebirth.
I was about to say that was right on time, probably, right?
Exactly. I was prepared, and I made it all back in a different way. Warren Moon, the Hall of Fame quarterback, and I started about 11 years ago a marketing company, one of the most well-known global sports marketing companies called Sports One Marketing, which has evolved into a media and marketing company, which last 3 years I've built my own brand with books, speaking, coaching, podcasts, TV shows, movies, things like that over the last 3 years, and including social influence, and
Yes.
learning that game through my mentor, Gary Vaynerchuk, who has helped me extensively build my brand. Well, I always say Gary's didn't build my brand. I built my own brand. He helped me extend it, meaning he taught me how to capture, amplify, and perpetuate the content that I create.
Well, wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is David Meltzer. Thank you so much for giving us the time to speak to us today. I had to thank you again. I truly appreciate it. And I want to tell our audience how we cross paths. Like you said, you're also looking at social influence, and your mentor Gary Vee. We cross paths at the Sky Sprout Summit. Big shout out to Nick Francis. He just had an amazing conference, and Barry and Media was there working. I actually got to mic you up and do a quick interview with you, but you were just so busy, continually creating content, doing interviews with people. I didn't really get a chance to talk to you as much as I would like to, but thankfully you keep posting content. We did connect on LinkedIn. I saw you making some posts on faith. I was like, just wanted to comment on that, and we just started a conversation, and now I get to interview you.
That's awesome.
It is, because that's how it's working out. But before that, if I were to tell the viewers everything else, like, I took a leap of faith and I'm attracting all this stuff, just kind of like how it seems like you have been attracting stuff in your life. So can you tell me just a little bit about how everything has been going for you, how you're achieving what you're achieving?
Sure. I think it's under the context of understanding the woo-woo term, right? The spiritual term manifestation. So once I simply decided there's two powers of attraction, two powers of manifestation, and manifestation just means to shop, right? And if you shop for what you want, you'll be happy. If you shop for what you don't want, you won't be happy. But the first is the currency that exists at the pragmatic plane, which is money. I think people discount the value of money, or they overvalue money. Money is just simply an energy. It's an object that you put into the flow. And just like on Amazon, there's this huge field of what you can get with money. And if you have green card, you get so much. You got a platinum card, you get more. And if you have a black card, there's enough of everything for everyone. Well, when I started realizing that faith was a currency. It was a currency that was hard to understand because faith is an object of energy which is put into the flow. And there's a different Amazon. There's a quantum field, a field of intention that holds everything for everyone. And if you have a green card of faith, you're just going to have enough. If you have a platinum card, you'll have just enough for you. But if you have a black card of faith, you'll have enough of everything for everyone. The interesting thing about faith, though, comparatively, is that it's the aggregate of what we think, say, do, and believe, which most people understand. But what they don't understand is the unconscious competencies. It's an aggregate of what you think, say, do, and believe, plus your personality traits, plus your characteristics, plus your obsessions, addictions, and the energy or frequency that you emit, which is not easily distinguished. So beyond that, it could come from 4 generations to 400 billion lifetimes, depending on your perspective. So I really have been able to look at what I'm shopping for. And I'm not a big believer in the why. I can tell everybody in the world, they know what their why is, and they're just too chicken to figure out their what and how. Everybody's why simply is this: I would like to help blank. That's everybody's why.
Sure.
100% of the people on earth are doing what they're doing to help something or someone. So don't waste your time worried about your why. Waste your time worrying about, number one, what do you want and who can help you get it, right? What do you want and how you're going to get it? And in order to do that, the other paradigm shift that you have to make is that everybody loves to give, but we're all not radically humble enough to ask for help. So I always say there's only 2 questions in the universe that exist. One, how can I be of service? And two, do you know anyone that can help me? That there's a mathematical equation of the flow, the give and the take of the universe. And we have to effectuate or catalytically utilize it simply by asking as many people as we can every single day, in person, on the phone, via email or media, radio, print, TV, or social media. How can I be of service? And do you know anyone that can help me? If you learn those 2 questions, you'll be a multi-millionaire and shop for the right things before you even can blink.
And I have to say that when I made that comment on your faith post, you asked, no, you responded and you said, "How can I be of service to you, John?" And that you're absolutely 100% spot on. And I was actually taken aback when you commented that on my comment of yours, because I was like, David Meltzer's asking me, how could he? This is wild. But I understood because that's how since I've taken my leap of faith, how I'm starting to win by asking, how can I help others? But it was just like, still this extremely successful, been millionaire how many times over, is asking me, how he can be of service to me. And that's when immediately I was like, okay, well, I mean, if he's asking, then how about just a quick interview at least? That would be just to like, that would be so tremendous. So thank you so much for having humbled yourself in gratitude and just asking that question. Now, I do want to know what came first, because you were successful very early on, and money was a currency. But when did you understand the faith thing as being a currency? Was it the money first and then faith later? And if so, when did that come into play for you?
Oh, much later on. So, for me, money bought happiness. So I was driven to buy my mom a house and a car. And the reason is I grew up so poor. We had to pack our dinner in a station wagon, poor, food stamp at time poor. But I grew up so poor that money to me bought happiness, because the only time I wasn't happy, I grew up really happy, was when I saw my mom crying or frustrated over money. And so in my head at 5 years old, I'm like, I'm gonna buy my mom a house and a car and be happy. I'm gonna retire with $1 million, right? So that was easy for me. And money throughout almost, my entire career before 30, money bought me happiness. I didn't know any differently. I just thought, money bought happiness, and if it didn't buy it, it rented it. That was fine with me. And but then through a quantum shift, 2 years before I lost everything, a quantum shift that occurred because of 3 different lessons. Number one, given by my dad, believe it or not. My early lessons, my concrete foundational lessons, my value lessons are all from my mom: gratitude, empathy, accountability, and effective communication. But my dad sent me a lesson because he said I was just like him. And he sent me for a birthday present after forgetting my birthday when he was 10 and me hating him afterwards. He gave me a birthday present of a jacket with no pockets to remind me I couldn't take anything with me when I was gone. And he kept reminding me that I was just like him, and that, I was not going to be the richest man in the cemetery, that I was lost and I had to find myself and remind myself every day with that jacket in the closet that I'm not taking anything when I'm gone. The second warning came from my best friend, who wasn't hanging out with me at the time, who went and played golf with me and told me that he did not want to hang out with me because of the people I hung out with. And I lied to him and said, well, I'm not doing the stuff that those guys are doing. And he said, look, you can lie to me. don't lie to yourself. And that rocked my world. And then the grand slam, the final homer was, I'm blessed to have the most extraordinary wife in the world. She's an incredible person and enlightened person and gorgeous and great mother. I mean, you can't find, I pray that everyone has a wife like mine. And, she basically gave me a wake up call. I've known her since the fourth grade. It took me till I was 29 years old to get engaged to her. She didn't date me until I got older, which, I literally, when she told me she wasn't happy, and unless I made changes in my life, didn't want to be with me, man, I was scared straight. And so those three things combined created a quantum shift in my life. Before I lost everything, I was super rich when that happened. But I went back and took stock in who I was. That's where my mom had the major impact. So the catalytic events were my dad, my best friend, and my wife. But going back to the values that my mom showed me, not taught me, but showed me, that's where my life changed. When I went back to living my life by gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and effective communication, reminding myself, like my mom said, that I'm plugged into the highest source of energy that was ever created, and that my job was to clear the interference or the corrosion between that which inspires me and that which inspires others in me. And so I went back and started living my life that way, which prepared me to lose everything and get a fresh start and make everything back, not being manipulative, lying, overselling, or back end selling, not trying to buy everything or believe that money creates happiness, but instead to build wealth so that I could shop for things to come through me for others to make an impact on millions of people.
So now you talk about faith. Are you talking about faith in yourself on top of faith in something else as well to work through you?
Oh
Or
man, faith is one. Sorry, I have my
no
camera
worries.
there. Yeah, so I'm talking about faith in the respect that faith to me is an aggregate. So it's not just faith in myself. It's faith in everything and everyone. I believe that we're all one and all connected. A tree has no branches. So, I don't define other people or try not to, and I don't define what other people can do because that just makes me someone who's judgmental or puts conditions on things I don't understand. I just know that I need to define what I want and I have to ask for help on how to get it. And so for me, faith is in everything and everyone. And in other words, having that positive perspective. When you put faith in somebody else, you're putting faith in yourself. When you forgive yourself, you're
Sure.
forgiving somebody else. So faith is overwhelming, encompassing, and faith is in everything and everyone.
And I want to wrap this up because I know your time is very limited, and I really truly appreciate it. But real quick, if we could just touch base on you also you have transition. You're putting out a ton of content. I'm seeing video after video after video after video, and I know something that has to kind of take place. I believe like at least self awareness or conscious wise, and then you obviously have to also get a videographer to start videotaping you. Can you tell us a little bit about that transition that you kind of undertook, and maybe being mentored by Gary? Because I know with the self awareness thing, and knowing kind of what you're doing and how you're doing it, when you made that crossover, that shift.
Yeah, so 2.5 years ago, AJ Vaynerchuk and Gary asked me to help them with their sports agency. As Gary likes to say, Dave moved into my neighborhood and he had a swimming pool, and I wanted to learn to swim. I had a basketball court, and David wanted to learn how to play basketball. So that's what we did. I wanted to learn about this media stuff. And what I learned from Gary is truly about finding my own frequency and putting out quality content by capturing, amplifying, and perpetuating what I do in a daily life. That I'm blessed to have this extraordinary life around extraordinary people. And I also, for even before I met Gary, I had extraordinary ideas, right? I was a best-selling author, a Forbes top speaker, but I wasn't capturing it and amplifying. I wasn't well known. In fact, my brand when I first sparked, won, Forbes top speaker was I'm the top motivational speaker you've never heard of. That was my brand. And thanks to Gary, millions of people have heard of me now because I capture, amplify, and perpetuate the content. And here's the best thing about my content. Man, as much as you think I got about 95% more content in the can, and it's just
Jeez.
growing exponentially. So I am very concise. I'm a student of my calendar. I do things now. I look at life in a lens of productivity and accessibility. I ask, but I do in a day, so much more because I believe in being active. There's activity you get paid for, activity you don't. I'm very process and system and efficient oriented. So I don't think people can even imagine the kind of things that I have coming up that can come out and impact the world. And It's as simple as having a person with a camera right
Right.
by me capturing what I do, and then you need good editors to pick out what moves people.
Well, David, I truly appreciate you're an inspiration. I'm glad we crossed paths. And I'm
Me too.
listening and I'm tuning in. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. And I wish you the best endeavors. Last thing, I want to know, how could I help you, or how could Barry Media help you?
You guys can help me simply share my content and do good deeds. So, I have a new book called Game Time Decision Making out. Get more people to buy it on Amazon so we can spread the word. I have other books that I'll send out for free and ship to you for free. I have extraordinary executive coaching and business advisory program. I'm here to be of service and to help people. So the more you share my content, the more you can promote the ideas that you like, the better it helps me. And most importantly, be kind to your future self. I'm here to be of service and to help people. So the more you share my content, the more you can promote the ideas that you like, the better it helps me. And most importantly, be kind to your future self.
I got you. I can do all that, sir. David, truly, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to me today. You're much appreciated. Have a blessed day, sir.
You too. Thank you for your time. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.